When did you get your first investment?
So we had our first investment round about a year and a half into building the business. And the process at the start was letting people sell their house for free and proving the concept. So everything was about getting customers on board. We brought in commission-only salespeople who were driving things forward. I was knocking on doors in the winter for 3 or 4 months before we actually got our second customer after the first one during my A-levels. So it was really, really tough. Several months of getting nowhere, people telling us that you couldn't sell a house for 99 quid, people doubting the fact that we were very young and trying to do that, people not having trust in the online process of selling a property because it's a change in habits. But eventually we kept persisting with that, letting people sell their house for free. Then once we saw the 5-star reviews coming in, again, the center was customer service, not just price. That's when we could go to investors and present that we had a few hundred customers, we'd proven the model, but raising that investment was to help us drive it forward in a much more sustainable way. And that's how we ended up getting our first round of investments, and that was from people who knew myself or others through networking or community, and in some cases actually customers directly, because they were champions for the business and the product, they knew what we were doing, and they were recipients of that outcome.
How did you prepare to speak to investors?
So when raising money from investors, we had meeting after meeting after meeting and tons of rejection. So it started off with creating a short deck or presentation, summary emails, we did summary videos about what we do. And that process of rejection was brilliant because every meeting you'd walk away with effectively free advice. So that person that's not willing to give you money is giving you advice as to why they haven't given you the money. And sometimes it's not necessarily accurate, it might be market-based or other circumstances, but the key thing is learning from each conversation. And that ultimately allowed us to iterate and change and improve what we were offering, improve how the message was delivered, and other feedback to make sure that eventually we could raise that capital.
What did you focus the invested money on?
The focus of that money allocation was based on marketing to grow the business and a strong team to make sure we could continue delivering on our promises. The idea was long-term to really build a position in the market where we thought at that price point we could prove that you could sell a property. And that was purely the focus. So marketing to grow, to bring our customer base on or grow our customer base, strengthening the operations team so they could deliver on that, and improving our technology. So ultimately that online process could be proven, that we could be a 24/7 service and really provide and meet the promises that we'd given to people.
What have you learned from your experiences?
The journey of entrepreneurship is very lonely. It's pretty difficult, and especially being a young entrepreneur, the first 4 or 5 years in terms of building that first company, I didn't network as much as I should have. I didn't build a strong enough community of like-minded people. I think there's 2 sides. One is being around like-minded people who understand the position you're in, who can empathize with you and you can share that journey with, even if it's in completely different fields or completely different businesses, even completely different stages. Those people will understand the importance of how you will eventually ultimately work 7-day weeks. You have to prioritize the business over other things and personal matters, and that's really, really helpful to have. On the flip side, when I was very young, it was very difficult to walk into a room of experienced, established people who, when you're 17 or 18 years old, it feels like you have nothing to offer. But I learned a couple of things. Firstly, confidence, and how you perceive yourself is how ultimately others will perceive you. So I could have walked into those rooms going, I'm a 17 or 18-year-old, I've got no value to offer here, or I'm a business owner, I run a business, and even before we've raised money or after we've raised money, we've got X amount of traction and growth, and I can be proud of that. So I can stand here as a strong, young, dynamic business owner. I think I can probably outwork all of these people. We probably have kids and a house and a mortgage. And that work ethic, that gave me the confidence to go into conversations knowing that I can add value. Even going to property environments when I didn't come from a property background, my view was the only way to disrupt the status quo was coming from outside of it, which is why I continuously pivot in the industry I start businesses in now, because I don't come from those spaces. So my view was my fresh perspective could actually be stronger than a lot of people that have the baggage of being in industry for 20 or 30 years. So ultimately that gave me the confidence to go and have those conversations. And when that passion for what you're doing, the why behind what you're doing and the drive behind it comes out in those conversations, you'll be very surprised around how people can respond, knowing that they can add value to you, you can add value to them. And that follow-up will get you to a point of getting great conversations. And I've been in rooms or lunch tables or environments with people that I never thought I would be, from the founder of AO.com to tea in the House of Lords and roundtables in government and Parliament, and now 10 Downing Street.